Northumbria. She joins us from Newcastle here in the UK. Good evening to you, Ariane. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. The government's argument for raising the age by 2 years seems to be that people are naturally living longer, so the demographic of people is getting older, and therefore the ratio of people paying into the pension is higher. Therefore, their argument is that people should work a little bit longer and therefore pay a little bit more into the pension pot. What's the argument against?
Well, the argument against is, first of all, that it's socially regressive because people are asked to work longer, but there's already a gap between categories of workers when it comes to life expectancy and health condition at retirement age. So this is going to make matters worse, and it's going to fall disproportionately on manual workers and low-wage workers. Then there's a question of intergenerational justice, that this reform falls on working people who will have to work longer, who will have to pay more contributions longer, but nothing is asked of pensioners. Then there is the issue of the employment rate among people who are 55 plus. It's very low. So if you don't have a job, you have to wait until retirement, living on benefits. So adding 2 years, if you don't create more jobs for this category of people, is going to increase the hardship. And then finally, pensioners are not asked to contribute, but neither are employers. And the argument is that there are other solutions that could have been put forward. The government decided that the only solution is to increase the retirement age. The counter argument is there are other ways of doing it, for example, through taxation.
Well, exactly. I was going to say, is the alternative simply to raise taxes, or how else could it be funded? Because France spends something like, what, 14 to 15% of its GDP on pensions. That does not feel quite sustainable. It's double what most wealthy countries spend.
I mean, the other solutions are to look at how to raise more funds. So you can think of maybe increasing the level of contribution. You could think in terms of, employers' contribution. You could think of taxing the wealthier pensioner. But none of those solutions have been looked at by the government. So the argument is, yes, there is a problem with the deficit, but rising the retirement age is not the only solution, unlike what the government is saying. That's the argument of the trade unions.
And President Macron, I mean, it feels like he's going out on a limb for this policy. I wonder what's changed in his mind since 2019, because back then he said France should not raise the age to 64. He's made a U-turn on that. Do you think this is a make-or-break policy for him?
Well, it is, in the sense that if that fails, as in if he has to abandon this reform under the power of the union and the power of the street, then he won't be able to do any more reforms for the rest of his mandate. So yes, in that sense, it's a make or break in terms of his mandate. And if he doesn't succeed, the risk for him is what I would call the Chiracization of his mandate, like former President Chirac in his second mandate, who didn't do any reforms really and just wanted to maintain the peace. So if he's thinking about his legacy, because obviously he's not going to be able to stand for the next election, it's vital for him that this goes through. Now, he should have the numbers to have this law passed in Parliament, but now it's how this movement is going to develop. Will there be momentum? Will there be, masses of, million and million of people on the streets? Will there be many sectors of the economy on strike? If the country is totally paralyzed, it might have to abandon it. But it's too early to tell at this stage. This is the first day. It's a long campaign. So we will have to see in the next few weeks, how it's going to develop.
Ariane, we will watch and wait with interest. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the news.
Thank you.
Ariane Bogain there joining us from Newcastle in the UK.